everyone, welcome back. I thought I'd share with you today one of my smoothies. These are really nice to have for breakfast, for lunch, for tea, any time of the day, and really, just tasty. Let's just say you can put just about anything in these. They're really good, especially in the morning, because if you want to start your day off, particularly your brain power, your energy, it's really good to start one of these. I mean, when I was really struggling with my sleep pattern, and I had to go to work, these were brilliant. These really helped me every morning, and also just there's so many nutritious benefits with these as well, as with all of the recipes I put on here. So yeah, this one is a berry smoothie, berries. So you can use any type of berries really. This particular one I'm doing today has got frozen berries in it. I believe it's got a bit of everything, as you can see, from cherries to blueberries to blackberries. Just a real mixture. You can, as I say, put anything in there. You can use fresh fruit as well. I do fresh fruit as well, but I'm doing a frozen one today. So I'll just go show you pretty much the ingredients. You can mix and match this. This is the beauty of smoothies. Just again, be creative as always. As long as you've got a good mix of fruit versus greens, you can't really go wrong. So about 50-50 roughly. Obviously I always put a few extra greens in because I love my greens. So anyway, so what we're going to use is we're going to use some berries, just a very small bowl of berries. I'll show you the amount when I pour them in. Again, you don't have to be specific with amounts here, but as long as you're getting a good ratio of about 50-50 roughly. We're going to use a frozen lemon. I won't go too much into that today because the frozen lemon versus the fresh lemon, but just have a look online and you will see the benefits of why I freeze my lemons, particularly with smoothies. But yeah, anyway, so frozen lemon, half a frozen lemon. It's been washed prior to going in the freeze, and it's also an organic one. So just for your awareness, frozen berries. We've also got, let's start at the back actually here. We're going to use organic Plenish soya milk. Now, again, it's good to have a bit of protein in here, so you can use ordinary milk or alternative milks, oat milk, rice milk, almond milk, anything like that. You don't actually even have to have milk in there. I mean, I've got some nuts, which is a good source of protein in here as well. So just play around with it. I just like to keep a bit more of a balance. I used to use water, and that's fine. You can get away with water because you've got enough flavour from the greens and the fruits mixed. And we'll go into the other ingredients in a minute. But I'm going to use the organic Plenish today, the soya milk. And I'm going to use just a small handful of almonds. You can use cashews as an alternative. Cashews probably were my go-to for the last sort of couple of years, but again, I'm just mixing things up. You can change things around. It's really good to not stick to the same thing if you can. There's a lot of variety, and it's just fun to play around with the different things. There's various nuts you can use in there. So the powders I'm actually going to use, again, it's optional. You don't have to use powders, but it's a really good way of getting, say, your superfoods, because obviously our normal foods, even the organic ones, I mean, this is not all organic that I'm using, but obviously the superfoods are, because I can buy those in a packet, organic. Can't always get fresh organic. Unless you shop around, and anyway, so as long as you're going for mainly organic, but yeah, the superfoods are really good because they're absolutely packed with nutrients. I'll go into some of the benefits of cacao in a minute. So this is raw cacao, and anyone that is a chocolate lover will know exactly what raw cacao is. Obviously this is without the sugar added. You won't need the sugar in here because we have the fruit which will sweeten it, so it will be like having that sweet chocolate taste within the smoothie, which is delicious. So I really highly recommend using raw cacao. I'm also using a very dark green supplement which is called Chlorella. I will list all of these ingredients because I know some of them are a bit unusual sounding as well, but I'll list them in the description and the method of what I'm doing, just so you can have a look in the box below afterwards. So the actual raw cacao, I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons, just so you're aware. 1 tablespoon is enough, but I love my chocolate, so I'm having 2. Again, do whatever, just play around with it. I'm going to have a teaspoon of chlorella. Chlorella powder is similar to sort of spirulina, you may have heard from the oceans. Very dark green, full of benefits. Again, I'll go into that shortly. The other things we're going to use, the greens I'm going to use are a mixture of spinach. Spinach is a really, really good one to use in a smoothie. It's light. It's obviously a dark green again, so you can get a lot of benefit from the nutrients from that. But if you're using kale, it can be a little bit heavy, so just bear that in mind. But spinach is really, really good to go in a smoothie, so I use it all the time. Rocket is really good, but again, if you have too much, it can be too sort of peppery, so you might want to just put a small amount in. Now this bowl is about sort of half to 3/4 of a colander full, just to give you an idea of how much I'm using. So we've got rocket in here, we've got spinach, and I've also got coriander. Now coriander is another really, really nutritious food, which is brilliant, and it's got more of a subtle flavour, so you can put a bit more in of the coriander without really noticing it too much in the flavour. Now the other thing I always put in a smoothie, regardless, is ginger. Ginger is packed, very good for the immune system, a really good immune booster. So I just put it in regardless, and it does give it a really lovely warm flavour as well. I'll put again, be careful if you use an organic because it's going to be obviously stronger. But in this instance, I'm using a small thumb size, not thumbnail. So a small thumb size, which is approximately about 1.5 inches. The other leaves I'm putting in here, now this is optional. Not everybody will want to do this. Anybody that likes to forage and knows much about foraging will understand the benefits of dandelion leaf. I will go into that in a minute, just briefly, but it's really, really good. So if you can pick your own, I will say though that when you pick the leaf, it's better to pick it before the actual flower forms, the dandelion forms, because otherwise it'd be quite bitter. Now these are on the bitter side, but what I've done is I've soaked them in salt prior to obviously using them, giving them a really good wash. I've got these from my back garden. If you are going to pick anything like this wild, obviously just make sure where you pick it, because you don't want to pick it on the side of a road. You don't want to pick it somewhere where you've got a lot of pesticides, chemicals. Ideally somewhere that's a bit quieter, maybe on a walk or in some woods, close to woods. If it's in your garden and you know you're not using chemicals and pesticides, then again, you know what's in your garden roughly. So just be careful. I'm only using about 4 sort of small leaves here, really, because it's got a very bitter taste, like I said, when it's slightly older, the plant. So you really don't want to over sort of run the smoothie with that, but I do say it's a must if you can put it in, because it's got so many health benefits not to put it in. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly, just briefly go through some of the benefits of raw cacao. So it's pretty much high in antioxidants, and it fights free radicals because obviously it's high in antioxidants. It slows down the aging process. It's high in minerals. It's alkaline, so anybody that may be a bit acidic or their diet's too acidic, then you know this will help to alkalize, as do all the greens. It's super high in magnesium. It's great for nerve and muscle function. It can help prevent heart disease. It's actually low in fat. It's the sugar, when you add the sugar, that's the problem to chocolate. But yeah, it's actually low in fat. It's got like a bliss chemical, which can make you feel a lot better. It's like a bliss feeling, and that's what chocolate can do. So it kind of improves your mood. So the serotonin for happy moods can ease PMS, but most vitally, it actually boosts your brain function as well. And I can attest to that. So let's just go through. We'll do the chlorella next. Okay, so with the chlorella, I'm putting a teaspoon in there because it's got a very strong taste. Any type of ocean food really has chlorella, spirulina, seaweed, anything like that. Again, yeah, seaweed's another good one to put in. Atlantic dulse is a good one, type of seaweed. Bladderwrack, that's another good seaweed. There's lots of different ones, but again, and also you don't want to majorly overdo the iron overload, so just a small amount, but this one obviously is a powder form, so yeah, just a teaspoon is fine. So the benefits of chlorella: it's naturally energizing, it's high in antioxidants, it's a dietary fibre, so it helps with producing fibre for the body. It's very rich in iron, it's a complete protein, it's got essential amino acids, digestive enzymes, which is a huge plus because obviously you need those for your gut, really, your gut health. It's vitamins A, C, E and B complex, so it does cover quite a lot in the vitamin side, certainly for the immune system and the health. Right, so chlorella, that's just in a nutshell. I'm not going to go heavily into it, but there are a lot more benefits with having chlorella. But I'm just going to go into the dandelion leaves next. Okay, so benefits of dandelion leaf. It stimulates the fluid loss through the kidneys. It encourages flow of digestive enzymes. It's very high in potassium. It aids in cleansing of the liver. And it's one of the highest vitamin content of all greens. It's also high in inulin, which is very, very good for the digestive system. So it's also been known to help with parasites, things like that, along with nettle. So if you're doing foraging, I will put on a nettle and dandelion soup another time because that is really brilliant if you're doing a parasite cleanse. It will really help, with the kidneys and the liver, and also the nettle's good at, as I say, eliminating parasites as well, along with other things. There is, I don't know whether you could just do the one thing on its own, but just it does help with those things. So, like with anything, take a holistic approach. Okay, so those are the ingredients I'm going to use today. I'm going to be using a Nutri bullet, which really ideally for doing smoothies. If you've got one, brilliant. If not, something similar. I don't know what else really is out. I mean, obviously you've got blenders, but I don't know if they'd really. You'd have to blend it quite well to get rid of all of the bits, and the Nutri bullet is absolutely brilliant at doing that. So especially when you're using harder substances like nuts, even a frozen lemon, that's quite hard to chop up. So now I'm using a 32 ounce jug. You can get a 16 ounce one, so you can get half the size, which I believe is the standard that you get when you buy a NutriBullet, and you can get these separate. You can buy them. I buy additional ones on eBay because they're plastic. They do get stained quite easily, particularly from fruit acid. So so this one will give you about just under 2 pints. Now that sounds a lot, but if you're quite a hungry person like me, that actually it really does set you up for the morning if you're having it first thing, and then you won't really want anything till lunchtime. and vice versa for lunch, you know. So yeah, it really just depends. This amount I'm doing now is for this size, so just half it. Again, if you're doing a smaller size, again, just play around with it and see how you get on. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to start placing the ingredients into the Nutri-Bullet. So we're going to use the jug, and we're going to start. We tend to start with the fruit first. Oops, I think I'm going to have to do this with two hands, bear with me. Okay, that's better. So just to give you a bit of a visual on this 32 ounce, so you can see how much fruit I've got in the bottom. Okay, now we're going to add the frozen lemon next. Then the ginger. Now the ginger I just put in whole, as long as you've washed it beforehand, because I think there's a lot of benefit in the skin as well. You don't need to peel it. If you don't want to, you can if you want to. It's up to you. Right, so ginger goes in there next. Then what I do, I tend to put the main sort of solids first. So then I'll put the nuts in. Okay, just move that out of the way. Right, now chlorella. It's got a lovely rich green colour. Okay, now next I'm going to put in the raw cacao, the lovely chocolate. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to place this down when I put the greens in. Okay, so just to show you roughly, we're about sort of 50-50-ish. Again, I've got slightly more greens, but that's fine. As long as you've got a rough idea. And you see the greens come just below the top, which is fine. You can fill it to the top. There is a maximum level, but that's more for the liquid. So if you want to fill the greens to the top, no problem. So I'm just going to now put some soya milk in. Now you can fill it all with soya milk, or you can mix it with a bit of water. I'll probably put a splash of water in there, but it's really optional. Okay, so as you can see, there's the maximum, and that's the fill line with the water. So as long as you don't go over that line, and obviously the smaller 16 ounce one has a max line on it. They all do, which is really helpful. If you do go over it, it's not too much of a drama, but you just have to be careful because it's likely to squirt out the bottom because there'll be too much in there. The one thing I found actually, which is just something to be aware of if you've never used a Nutri-Bullet. If you have, then you probably are aware, but when you tighten the lid, just make sure you tighten it really tight, because obviously the pressure when it blends, it's going so fast, it can loosen the lid. I actually will blend this about 4 times, about 10 to 15 seconds each, just to give it a really good, because obviously get rid of all the bits in it and the lumps. There's nothing worse than having a smoothie with lumps. But after each 10 to 15 blitz, I will actually just double check the lid, because the amount of times it's leaked on me and then sprayed everywhere, and that's the last thing you want to do. So yeah, just for those that might not have used one before. Okay, so I'm just going to put the lid on, and here it is ready to go. So you can see it's literally upside down now. The fruit's at the top and the greens are at the bottom. So what it will do is it will actually chop up the greens first, and then the thicker stuff or the heavier stuff and bulkier stuff will then blend. Now what I'm going to have to do this with 2 hands, so I'm going to obviously just pause this while I blend it, and I'll come back to you shortly once it's done. But I will need 2 hands because, as I say, it is notorious if you haven't tightened it enough for spraying everywhere. We don't really want to make a mess. So I'm just going to pause it again, and I'll be back with you shortly. Hello and welcome back. So here we have the finished article. It's got a lovely chocolatey flavour. Oh look, it's really tasty, this one. Just think of chocolate berries. So just to give you a rough idea, so that's about a pint glass. So we've probably got, actually in this one, a pint and just over half, I'd say. So obviously the fill level was max. So yeah, not quite 2, but nearly 2 pints, just to give you an idea. So there, right. Now, the taste test. So just use a straw. Now with any smoothie, I highly recommend using a straw. It's full of fruit, it's very acidic. Although you've got the greens to help alkalize it, that's why you balance 50-50. It's still quite acidic around the gums and the teeth. So if you want to look after your teeth and gums, always better to use a straw. So we'll give it a quick taste test. Oh yeah, that's delicious. So yeah, so it's almost like chocolate in a glass, and it's just packed with nutrients, so you're going to benefit. So really have some fun with this, guys, because as I say, you can do just about anything with smoothies as long as you've got that ratio balance I was talking about. It's really, really good to add in all of those things that you want to experiment with. A bit of seaweed, you know, all the different various nuts. You can put flax seeds in, avocado. The only thing I will say, just bear in mind, now the thickness we've got here is just right, really. It's loose enough to drink. It's not too thick and it's not too runny, but depending on how you like your smoothies. Yeah, just play around with the balance, but just make sure if you're going to use something that's going to, like avocado is quite thick, that's going to make the consistency thicker. So you might need a bit extra water and a bit less other things. So just bear that in mind, because obviously the fruit is bulky, the lemon will be a bit bulky, the nuts, things like that. The milk can make it a little bit more bulky, believe it or not, because obviously it's a type of food. So just play around with that and have fun. And as long as you've got that sweetness to it, you know, and you've got a sweet tooth, then you're well away, really. I definitely can't taste the dandelion in that, just so you're aware. So 4 leaves were fine for that mixture. I think if you had more, it might be a bit too bitter. But that's really nice just as it is. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, please leave any comments, and I will endeavour to put another one on very soon. I'm going to have a think about what else to do. I might do something else on the parasite cleanse next, because I know that's a major problem for a lot of people. So yeah, I might just do a couple of things on that. Okay, hope to see you soon for the next one, and hope you enjoy.